Yeah, I try to avoid lesbians. I finally came out and I was avoiding lesbians and hooking up with straight girls.
Hello, I am Kay Anderson, and you are listening to Lost Spaces, the podcast that mourns the death of queer nightlife. Every episode, I talk to a different person about a venue from their past, the memories they created there, and the people that they used to know. Now, I need to let you know something. I think I've met someone who loves a spreadsheet as much as I do, and her name is Bobby Macumber. Bobby is a comedian, MC, and radio host from Melbourne, Australia, and I have to say she was probably the most organised, punctual, dream guest that I have ever had on the show. We caught up to talk about the Glasshouse, one of Melbourne's only lesbian bars, which was also the very first queer bar that Bobby ever went to with teammates from her cricket team back when she was a closeted 23-year-old. We talked all about the joys of karaoke, falling in love with straight women, and coming out to your parents via email.
It's funny you think that the world is going to end when you come out and you're going to lose all of these friends. I didn't lose any friends. If anything, I got closer with so many of them because I was able to be my true self and open up. But of course, you don't realize that until you do it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, isn't it? The planning for this disaster that's going to
Oh,
happen. Like,
yeah.
right, so my family's not going to want to talk to me anymore, so I'm going to have to make sure that I've got like living arrangements, everything in place. I'm not going to have
Yes.
any friends. I'm going to have to make new friends. I'm going to have to figure out where to go and find them
Yeah.
and like all these. And then it's kind of a bit of a letdown when no one's upset, right? I know that's not
Yeah.
everyone's circumstance, but yeah.
No, no, no. And it was definitely harder to tell my parents. So I came out to them via email when I was living overseas because I tried
Via
to do it.
email.
I know. I BCC'd my brothers into the email so that they could deal with it.
Did you use any like emojis or GIFs or anything in the email?
No.
What was the
It's,
subject line as well? Was it something really dramatic, like something I have to tell you, ...
I know. Someone asked me this recently, and I cannot for the life of me think of what it was. Yeah, I reckon I actually went back and looked through my emails because I was interested to see what the email said and what it was, and I just remember reading it. I'm talking, I don't know, 5 or 7 years ago from now, and I just got so emotional again. I just went through the whole thing again, reading it, thinking what I was thinking at the time, and I think I'd had a couple of wines as well, and I was like, oh my God, poor me. And so I haven't looked back, and someone asked me what the title was, and I was like, I don't know, and I can't look back at it. Yeah, but it was a letter. I attached a letter, and I remember explaining, because my mum actually asked me a couple of times. She's like, you and your friend Mon, what's going on there? I'm just like, and Mon was my straightest friend ever. I'm just like, she's like my best mate. She's like, you guys hang around a lot. Like, where's Mon? Why doesn't she have a boyfriend? I'm like, she does. She does have a boyfriend. She's like, I've never seen him. I'm like, Ma. So I had to confirm in the email that Mon wasn't my partner, but I was in fact gay. But my mother reacted as I thought she would, and that's honestly why I didn't tell them to their face. I just couldn't bear to see her be upset. And so she didn't talk to me for about 3 months. My dad was good. Well, my dad was good. So he would talk to me because I was living overseas at the time. I was living in Samoa, a Pacific island, one of many where it's illegal to be gay, even to this day. So I remember my dad saying on the phone, he's just like, "Oh, we love you. Thanks for letting us know. Just don't tell anyone there." And I said, "Excuse me." And he's like, "Oh, because they don't." I know what it's like, Dad. I'm well aware of the culture that I'm in and my life. I don't need you to tell me to not tell people. I haven't told people my whole life. I'm just telling you. So,
That's hard, isn't it, when your parents like go into practical mode?
yeah. Yeah. As though I didn't know how to handle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All you need to say is, "You love me." And he did. To be fair, he did say that. I mean, he actually said, "We love you." I was like, "Okay. Is Mum there?" He's like, "Oh, she's busy at the moment." I'm like, "Yeah, right. She's been busy for bloody 3 months." But I did come home for a friend's wedding, and I stayed with my parents for a couple of nights. Mum and Dad, they were like, "Stay with us." I was like, "I'm staying with Mon. Nothing has happened. I was staying with my friend Mon." But they were like, "Stay with us." And I was just trying to avoid Mum, but she was really trying to get my attention. But she hadn't spoken to me in 3 months. So I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to go through this if you haven't spoken to me. But she sat me down. She's just like, "Oh, I just wanted to talk to you." And it was just us two home. I was like, "God, where is Dad?" He was on his way home from work or something. And I was just like, "God, get me out of here." And she said, I just want to apologize for my reaction for when, you sent your email. I didn't know how to react. Mum's dad was a pastor at a church, and she's like, "This is my upbringing, and in Kiribati, it's illegal." And although, everyone else, like I had a cousin that was gay, and Mum and Dad were amazing. Like Mum was so good. So I was just, yeah, torn. But and she said, she's like, I'm was fine with Richard, but when it was you, I just didn't know how to handle it. And then she said, she goes, "But I put the TV on, and Ellen was on TV." And I said, "Yes." And she said, "And Ellen is, she's the lesbian." I said, "Yes, I know she's lesbian." She said, "Yeah." She's like, "I didn't realize. And I watch her every day, and she makes me laugh every day. I love Ellen." I said, "Yeah." And she said, "And you're a lesbian. You make me laugh. I love you." And she gave me a hug, and I kid you not, I laughed and I cried, and it was, yeah, I get emotional thinking about it.
Oh, that's amazing that she sat you down and had that conversation with you, rather than just like, "Oh, let's pretend everything's back to normal."
Completely. And I thought she might be like that, but yeah. Um, yeah, I thought it would be either pretend nothing happened, or we just wouldn't be as close as we were. But just like all the other relationships, I think it was so much better for it
Yeah.
in every way. She proved me wrong, which was great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Just as a side note, given everything that's happened in the last few years, how do you feel about being compared to Ellen?
No comments. To be fair, I think Mum passed away before that stuff happened 33 years ago, so so she can't be held accountable either. Oh.
And so where were we? We were in the Glasshouse.
Yeah.
When did you first go to the Glasshouse?
Yeah, I was thinking about this before, and I think I was about like in 2003. So I was probably around, I don't know, 22, something like that. So I was still in the closet when I first went to the Glass House. I knew of the Glass House because a bunch of women from my cricket team were going. And so I was there with a couple of my other closeted mates who, I mean, we're all out now, married, kids, whatever. But at the time, yeah, we were all, about 20, 22, something like that. And we were,
So
yeah,
sorry, just to interject.
yeah.
From everyone on your cricket team, how many were straight?
Um, when I played, it probably hasn't changed too much. I would say it would be 50-50.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's much
Yeah.
higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah. No, no, no. Yeah, so it's about 50-50. I think that's probably close across the board with women's football as well, from my experience.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably about 50-50. Maybe even when I first started playing cricket, it might have been a little bit higher, so maybe 60% lesbians or gay.
So what's
Um,
happened to them?
what do you mean?
Well, how did it go
What?
down? Where did they go?
You know how it went down? I think back in the day when I first started playing, when I was playing cricket and everything, there was so much, um, what's the word? It was very stereotypical. Everyone thought lesbians played cricket, and that actually deterred a lot of young girls and women from
Ah,
playing the sport. I remember, like, when I was 14 years old, I made a Victorian cricket team. I was wrapped. I loved this game. I loved everything about it. Was 14, so I didn't fully know my sexuality or whatnot. And I was at Christmas, family Christmas, and my auntie said, when like dad said, oh, Bobby made the Victorian team and whatnot, and like the whole family were wrapped. But one of my aunties said, she goes, I'll make sure she doesn't turn into one of those lesbians. And I was like 14. And then a couple of the adults laughed, and my dad kind of shut it off, but they didn't tell him off. He just talked about something else. And I was 14 years old. And so I know a lot of young girls wouldn't play because they didn't want to be
oh,
called
wow.
lesbians.
Wow.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
huge. And I do think the numbers have gone down with it because women's football and cricket, both of them are now more professional. It's There's so many more leagues out there. There's not this stereotype that women hide and play this sport because it's a men's game.
Hmm.
There would be a lot of um, LGBTQ plus women or people that would come and play cricket. It was a safe community for
Yes, yeah,
queer
yeah.
people as well.
It's so interesting though, because you hear about like men are put off because men are so sensitive, are
Mm,
put off from doing things because it's seen as feminine or that they would be
yeah,
gay if they did it. But you don't hear much about women choosing not to do something because it's
yeah,
dykey.
yeah, totally.
Ah,
Yeah.
so sorry, I cut you off. So
No.
you were at the Glass House with
Oh yeah.
other people from your team, and
Yeah.
some of them were in the closet, some of them weren't.
Yeah. So there was a group of us. There was probably about four of us that were all the same age, and we were all in the closet, like to the point where I think there was that internalized homophobia just from everyone judging us from the outside, expecting us to be gay. So we were like, no, we're not
I'll
gay.
show you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're like. We'll show you, but we're going to this place because we've got other friends that are here and stuff. And we went and we had a good time, and we kind of giggled because we had never seen so many gay women before. It was exciting. It was fun. We saw a lot of people that we played cricket against, and it was it was a fun experience, but it was also, I guess, hard for us because we were all gay, but we just hadn't come out.
Mm.
But we loved
So
it.
who on the team? So who on the team was out?
The older women, I guess.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so older women that would have been in their mid to late 20s or 30s, people in their 40s, and they were all comfortable with in their skin and who they were, and they were happy to take us out. So we went out with them, but we had a ball. So we went back, and yeah, we went back every second weekend, kind of a thing, for a little while, and then occasionally one of not me personally, not at this time, but one of my mates would hook up with someone privately outside or in the toilets, and it was slowly. It's like, did you? It's like, no, no, I didn't, and we were just hiding what was inevitable um, in this gay lesbian bar, the Glasshouse. So yeah, initially my experience was, I guess, discovery, to be honest with you, for all of us.
Okay, so like transport yourself back in time and you've just walked through the front door of the glass house. Tell me about what you're seeing. Tell me about what your sense, like, what are you soaking in?
I was like, I wasn't embarrassed, but I was anxious. I would say anxious of where I was, who would see me. I think just that was the first place that I had been to where, like, everyone was queer or an ally, but no one was judged. Like, that was the first, yeah, gay, queer venue that I had actually been to. So, yeah, there are a lot of emotions. Definitely anxious would have been my main feeling and my main emotion when I went there the first time. And then to excitement. Like, it didn't take long to kind of be like, "How cool is this?" You know?
Mm.
I was there with friends and stuff, so that definitely helped. Um, and it obviously got easier over the years that I continued to go there, but
Was it a place
yeah.
where everybody knew your name as soon as you walked through the front door?
It's funny, on Sunday nights, there would be karaoke, and during women's footy season, everyone, all the football teams would go to this bar and play karaoke. So you knew a lot of the people from all the other teams. Um, I was quite outgoing and whatnot, and I was friends with lots of people from different clubs. So it literally was one of those bars where I would walk in after a game of footy, to karaoke, and you would like people like Bobby, hey, I'm like, hey, like Bobby, hey. It was brilliant. I loved it. And then my song was Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And whenever it
Oh,
came
that's an
on,
ambitious song.
oh my God, it was more about the dance performance on stage than the actual than the actual singing. But every time that, because I just went there every single Sunday, I bloody loved it. Every time that song come on, I kid you not, people would just start chanting Bobby, and I would just be like, I'd just be making a way. I'd get up on stage, and Dolly was the name of the lady that ran it, and she's just like, "Here we go, Bobby. Do you want to give someone else a go?" I'm just like, "This is my song." Um, so yeah, it was. Oh god, that was so much fun, and that was a few years later. So that was probably close to. I would have been in my mid 20s, I think. I came out when I was about 25, and I would have been about 27, I think,
Ah,
at this
okay.
point. So I was just living it
Ah.
up.
So let's talk about that coming out. So you said earlier that your aunt had made a remark about you turning into a lesbian because you were involved in sport,
Yeah.
which, is a common occurrence. What, like, where were you at that point in terms of understanding your sexuality?
I, honestly, when people ask when did I know I was gay, I was 5 years old. I kid you
Oh,
not. I
wow.
remember having a crush on Carly, who was in my class in grade prep. um,
Hi, Carly.
and I had just held it in all my life, I think. So when I was 14, I knew
But
I
did
was
you
different.
how people often minimize their relationships between women and say like, well, they just really like each other. They're just friends. Like
Yeah.
it can't be sexual. It has to just be like a platonic thing. It's just intense. Like, did you
Yeah.
not have that kind of internal dialogue or?
I did about like women at our cricket club, for instance. There was the coach and one of the other players, and everyone, all the teenagers were saying, "Oh, they're a couple." And we're like, no, they're not. They're just really good friends. They live together. They were absolutely a couple. I was at their wedding. They were together for over 20 years. But
Wait,
yes,
you weren't
we
at their wedding saying, no, I think they're just friends, guys, were you?
No, I'd accepted it by then, thankfully. But yeah, no, I was absolutely one of those people going, they're just friends. They are absolutely just friends. I did that for quite a while, actually, for many relationships. Proved wrong every single time.
But did you think like
But yeah.
that about yourself? Like when you were having these intense feelings, were you trying to like justify it or write it off by saying like, "Oh, it's just a friend thing"?
Um, you know what? I knew. I don't think I ever tried to pretend that it was just a friendship because I don't know, I just had these feelings inside me
Mhm.
that
Mm.
I didn't have for boys or, in primary school or high school, especially high school. I think high school. So when I was 14 to 17, yeah, I really knew. But then that was when I was also getting all these comments. So I just try to block it out, I think. I didn't pretend that this is just an intense relationship. I knew that I was very attracted to girls in school or famous women that I see on TV, but I
Oh,
just
like who? Who were your celebrity crushes at the time?
um oh, Shannon Doherty from Beverly Hills 90210. Oh my god, madly in love with her. But you know what? I had a poster of bloody Luke Perry on my wall just because I was trying to convince everyone that I didn't bloody yeah. But no, Shannon Doherty, I loved her.
And so then this, like you've said about like just kind of ignoring it or just kind of
Mm.
was that about like just pushing it down and not thinking about your sexuality or thinking about like ever acting upon it, or was it something else?
It well, to be honest with you, I think it was shame. I was embarrassed. So I did just block it out and hope that I might find men attractive. Um, oh god, and I went through some painful situations to try to convince myself that I wasn't gay, up until my early 20s. I just yeah, really struggled with coming out, I think. And it's interesting just being around such open, queer friendly environments, yet it just had the opposite effect because of the perception of the queer community. Not the queer community themselves, they were
Ah,
wonderful,
okay.
but it was everyone around it, whether it be, society, family members, things that you like. I would run the boundary for my brother's footy teams at country football, and just the homophobic slurs that would come out to the players, to the men that were
Hmm.
playing, and I would like running as a teenager, just hearing all of this stuff. There was just a lot of negativity around it that that I guess, yeah, made me feel shame.
Yeah, yeah, and not wanting to be associated.
Yeah.
And so like going to the Glasshouse the first time when you were 22, 23, and then coming out at 25, like there's a bit of a gap there. There's a 2 year gap there.
Yeah, yeah.
What when you say coming out, is that just like coming out to everyone rather than coming out to yourself?
Yeah, when I say I came out at 25, that was when I came out to my family, so that was when I could fully
Hmm.
be who I wanted to be. When I was maybe a year earlier, I might have come out to friends, so my close friends knew, and, I had partners, yeah, from probably actually, probably 25. I think I was with someone at the time, and that really made me want to share it with my family. Like my brothers were in relationships, and their partners would come to family things, and in my mind I was just like, oh well, maybe my family don't have to know about my partner, and that's okay. That's just one small part of life. I can live with that. Oh my god, of course I can't live with that at all. But at the
Mm-hmm.
time I thought I could. So coming out when I was 25 was when I came out fully, and my parents knew, and that meant that it didn't matter who knew. I think before that, I was like, I had to be careful who I told because I didn't want my parents to find out. I didn't want this person to know, and but yeah, from 25 onwards, out and proud. And I think I'm getting prouder and prouder as the years go on. But
That sounds really
yeah,
exhausting. So
it
were you
was.
like, yeah, like, oh, I can't be seen on this road with this person because then if someone drives past and sees me, then they're going to know, and then it's going to get back to my parents. And then if I buy this kind of drink at this bar, someone's going to know.
It yeah, I think, my teammates knew, people within, my footy team, my cricket team, and like I said, my brothers, I told my brothers beforehand, and they were wonderful and great. But I think I had a year or 2 before actually coming out to my parents, thinking that it would be fine. But yeah, once I did come out, I mean, it wasn't great at first, but in the long run, I mean, the greatest thing that I ever did. And of course, you look back, hindsight, it's just like, "Oh, probably should have done it earlier." But I guess I had to discover all of that stuff myself. So
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And one of the unique situations, I suppose, that you were in was that you were surrounded by queer women.
Mm.
You you had examples in your life of people who were out and proud and just kind of getting on with things. You've kind of alluded to the fact before that that kind of hindered you in a way.
I think what made me uncomfortable was not so much them, it was how people reacted to them that made me uncomfortable. For example, there was a couple within my cricket team, and they were openly affectionate. And I mean, they were a couple, they can do what they want to do. And then just being around, I remember we had a cricket game, so we were all playing at home and we were all together. Um, and they were just, yeah, they were affectionate and they were fine. I'm trying to say it's okay. Of course it's okay. But my feelings, I'm feeling what I was feeling at the time. I was so uncomfortable with what people walking past would think.
So
Like I was like,
hang on. Was it, I have no problem with them, but do they have to do it in front of me?
the reason I didn't want them to do it in front of me was because I thought other people could see it and then they would think that that was me, which it was. So I think I was just so insecure about anyone finding out about me. I didn't want people to be gay around me because
Ah.
then they'll be like, "Oh, well, you're one of them." Like, no, I'm not. so insane.
And I'm not open-minded enough to have lesbian friends.
Yes, exactly. Oh God. Yeah, those were my teenage years.
Oh, there's something that it's easy to romanticize about when looking back, like that kind of turmoil, that excitement that you had just with absolutely anything that happened, you'd be
Oh,
conflicted and
I'm just so stressed. Like, my God, just chill out. No one cares. And that's the biggest, like, somebody, no one cares.
the the other thing, like in having that group around you, is that like when you actually came out, were people all just like, yeah, so what?
Yeah. Yeah. I think majority were like, yeah. Friends were great. I think I had a couple of friends that were just like, made it about them and like, well, why didn't you tell me?
Oh,
I
okay.
can't believe you didn't tell me. Like, I've known you for this long. Just like, can you? Like, I wasn't comfortable. It wasn't you. It was me.
Mm.
But I mean, that was only a couple. Everyone else, so happy and wonderful and supportive and fine with
Oh.
everything.
Okay, so back to the glass house. What what I typically ask people when they come on this show is, did you snog anyone there?
Do you know what? Not as many
Would
people
you,
as I would have
what?
liked. I
Oh,
just,
interview's over. This is it. It's
I
terrible.
know. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful chatting. I was so boring. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's an insecurity or an anxiety thing. I didn't want to. God, I had all of these rules and restrictions on myself. I didn't want to get with anyone from my football team. I didn't want to get with anyone.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
Right? It does. But then I didn't want to get
Mm-mm-mm.
with anyone from any other footy team as well. I don't know. I just didn't want rumors to go. It's like, get over it. Everyone else is making out and having a good time. I was getting up on stage. I had a lot of friends, but I didn't actually make out with too many people there. God, how boring. This is such a shit interview. I'm so sorry. God.
But so you're telling me that every week you did karaoke, you got up on stage, you sang "I Want to Dance with Somebody," then you got off stage and no one was like, "I want a piece of you."
Well, not all the time. Maybe the dancing entertained them, made them laugh as opposed to be attracted. But there were a couple. But I don't know. I don't know why. I'm really annoyed at myself, to be honest, that I don't have a better answer for this and that I didn't behave better. But to be honest, I think I still had a guard up for the first few years. I think it was after the Glasshouse bloody closed that I just went all out lesbian on dates, public displays of affection, crazy, comfortable. I think maybe I wasn't as comfortable as I may have said.
So without projecting any stereotypes
Go
on
for it.
you, were you then a serial monogamist?
Oh my God, I was. Oh my God, absolutely. Ugh. Yeah, and I think my first and you know what I did as well, which is, I dated straight women. So relationships would last 6 months. Straight women or women that have just come out, but then weren't sure and
Yeah,
and and,
yeah.
and went back and stuff. So that my first 4 relationships were with well, my first 3 were straight women. Um, Next one after that was yeah, in between, but
Let's talk about that. So,
okay.
was it like was that part of the appeal?
I liked that they weren't from my sporting teams.
But I mean, just to play devil's
Mhm.
advocate, there's probably quite a fair few lesbians that weren't on your sporting teams
Yes,
in Melbourne.
yes. You're right, you're right. Yeah, I think my first few girlfriends were friends of friends outside of my queer community that I knew, which was a lot of my sporting teams. I don't know. I just didn't for some reason I didn't delve in and enjoy myself
Hmm.
as much as I probably could have. And then yeah, I tried to avoid lesbians. I finally came out and I was avoiding lesbians and hooking up with straight girls,
Was
but
that part of the internalized homophobia?
I don't know. I never thought about this. I kind of
Oh,
look back and
okay.
laughed about it, but now that we're going through everything chronologically, absolutely it is. That was another part of it.
But
Um,
it wasn't like a thrill. It wasn't like oh, maybe I can turn them. Maybe I'm that powerful.
you know, that's funny. It was the other way around. So it was them hitting on me. I didn't think it at
Ah,
all. So it was, I guess, straight women that had been at gay clubs or friends of friends and might have been attracted to me, my personality and fun and whatever else, and just see everyone having fun around me. They're like, "Oh yeah, I could do this," and no, no, not for more than 6 months anyway. So yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't at all. I don't think I ever went chasing straight women. I just happened to date a few.
you just that's interesting. I wonder then if there was something about you that was especially appealing to
Yeah.
them.
You know, I had a lot of fun. I was definitely life of the party. So if anything, it might have just been that, and that's fun for a little while. Then you have to realize your sexuality.
And is it like super boring dating straight people? Because like I mean I haven't done it, but I always just imagine like everything would be like would feel as though you were coercing them into things.
Coercing. I thought you were going to say teaching them. Jesus, coercing them.
No, not to, no, no, but like, because they're bringing all of their like, oh, I'm not sure. So it seems as though you'd be like, oh, come on, it's just head.
Yeah.
It's just making out. Like, just do it. But you were
I
teaching them. You were
think,
leading the way.
which well, that's how I like to say it. I think at first, yeah, and I didn't mind that. I thought that was fun. But I remember getting to a point and I was just like, oh my, I am not dating a straight woman ever again. Or anyone that is unsure that yeah, I must have been um, in my 30s or, yeah.
It took you to your 30s to get to this
Oh my God,
conclusion.
right? I know. This has been such a journey. I've actually only enjoyed the last 5 years of my life. Um, no, I think, but definitely my sexuality. I think I've been comfortable from 30 onwards. I came out at 25, but I was still having issues dating straight women and whatever. But yeah, I think honestly from 30 onwards, so the last 9 years, I've been so comfortable in my skin, and I've dated gay women, which is great.
Who know what they're doing.
Exactly. Oh yeah, yeah. My fiance. So we're getting married in December. She is
Oh.
bisexual. Prior to that, yeah, my ex was gay, and like she knew she was gay. So and both just very comfortable in their skin. So that definitely made a big difference.
Oh yeah, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the whole other thing, I guess I just went straight to sex because that's how my mind works. But the whole other thing I hadn't thought about in terms of dating a straight woman is the all of the navigation of like social politics and keeping it on the DL and
Yeah.
acting a certain way in public and then a certain way in private and all of that messiness.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a head fuck.
It is, it's exhausting, especially when you've gone through it all beforehand. It's just like, "Oh, really? Now I have to hold your hand through this?" So, yeah, it was nice to be in a
Um,
relationship with someone who knew who they were and were comfortable, and like I said, myself
mm.
included.
Yeah, I haven't dated straight people, but I've dated like people that are in the closet or like are kind of still knee deep in shame. And that whole thing, it's so invalidating. It's so like difficult not to take it personally, even though it's not about you.
Yeah,
It's someone saying to you, like, I don't want to be seen with you in public. I don't want people to know about us. And there's so
yeah,
much that that triggers for you
yeah.
that there's just no way that you can depersonalize it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I definitely went through that with at least two of my early partners where they, yeah, I mean, I'd already had all of the shame on myself. I don't need someone else to put it on me now as well.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I definitely got confused. I confused lust with love when I was younger. God, the things that I thought was love. I mean, like anything, you look back and what an idiot. But hey
I mean,
now.
and all this confusing lust with love, and you didn't even pash anyone in the glass
I
house.
know.
Anyway, so Glasshouse. Sorry, taking us
Yeah.
off. So do you remember hearing about the Glasshouse closing?
I don't think I heard about it until after the fact. I think, um, I was looking for a place to drink, so I hadn't been there in a little while. Um,
And is this because you were in a relationship and you'd settled down?
Possibly. Yeah, that might have been the case. Oh, what was it? No, you know what it was? I think I was overseas at the time. So I was living and working overseas, and then I came home, and then I wanted to catch up. And I was like, "Why don't we go to the Glass House?" I don't know. I could have been in a relationship, but then I went there, and it was closed, and I was like, and it didn't look like it had been open for a while. And then I remember just looking it up on my phone, and finding out that it was
And then
closed.
so when you were outside the bar and you looked up and you'd seen that it had closed, what did that feel like?
Devastated. One of the main things, especially like the gay, scene, this was the only lesbian bar. Like, this was the only dedicated lesbian bar. There were so many gay men bars, but there was just nothing like this. So, yeah, it was devastating, and I think I was just waiting for it to reopen or another bar of some sort similar to open, but I don't know any.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, I know that there's a lot of gay nights that are around and that might be, for women or whatnot, but there I have never seen anything like the Glass House, and it is devastating. Like, it was
Mm.
just such a huge part, not just for me, but for so many, women, um, in Melbourne, and it was just unfortunate that there was no other place like this
Mm.
available.
And so do you prefer like women only or women heavy spaces? Women heavy? You know what I'm trying to get at.
I think I do enjoy it. Yeah, definitely. And I enjoy like a Sunday licious, so a similar thing where, it would be all women. Um, but I just like the option as well.
Hmm.
It's yeah, I like the option. There are a lots of other gay bars and clubs that I've been to in Melbourne, which I love as well, which would definitely have more men, and they are definitely catered more for gay men. And I love those bars as well, but I did prefer the Glass House. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
I probably do enjoy the spaces with predominantly women.
Mm. And
Yeah.
have you sang I Want to Dance with Somebody in other venues?
Many, yes, many. The Glass House can't take
Ah.
that away from me. I will always sing that
And
wherever I
but
can.
like, do you never mix it
Yeah.
up? Is it just the same song every time?
No, I do. I do. No, I do sing that a lot. Um, I'll do a duet. You know what? That's actually the only song that I do. If someone says, "Do you want to sing this song with me?" I'll jump up and I'll do another song. Push it, Salt and Pepper. I do that as well. But once again, I think I'm all about the dance when it comes to karaoke. I sing a little bit, but it's just about dancing that I really enjoy. I did karaoke at my sister-in-law's hens in South Australia when they had restrictions. So security, when I was on stage singing, there was a no dancing policy, which is unbelievable, but they have no dance floors open
It's like Footloose.
in certain states. Right. But when you're on stage, I mean, it's just given, like, everyone knows that you can dance on stage. Anyway, I was dancing on stage and the security said on the microphone, "No dancing on stage," like interrupted my Whitney Houston with no dancing. I was just like, "Excuse me?" And he said, "No dancing on stage. It's illegal in this state." I was like, "You can get fucked." And I just kept dancing and thankfully he didn't kick me out. Had a bit of a laugh. Not him, but everyone else did. But I couldn't believe it. What is karaoke without dancing? Anyway, I kept dancing. So.
But also, like, how do you define dancing? Like, what if you're just kind of shimmying? Is that
Right?
dancing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't shimmering. If there was, I mean, I was the definition of dance. I mean, there was no
Okay.
mistaking what I was doing on that stage.
You were a competition winner, yeah.
That was my aim.
And so what did the Glasshouse teach you about yourself?
You know, it was a first for me in so many ways. Like, first gay bar that I went to when I was first discovering who I am. It was one of the first venues that I did stand-up comedy, which I love and got to perform alongside so many amazing comedians. And it was the first time that, you know, my parents, I'd been to a bar with my parents because they came to a comedy show. Like, I think it just had a lot of big moments in my life, like for coming out, for performing, family, all of that. I mean, who would have thought career, family, and coming would all be a part of the Glasshouse? But for me, it is. I had such big, wonderful moments in that space, and I think I definitely grew over the years with each of those experiences. I just had so many really cool, positive experiences happen to me in the Glasshouse. So it's, yeah, a lot of good memories, I think, for me.
And
Definitely.
if you could go back in time and have a conversation with that 22, 23-year-old Bobby who's just showing up at the Glasshouse for the very first time, other than pash more women, what advice would you give her?
Yes. Just relax. No one cares that you're gay. Like, you're surrounded by gay people. Just chill the fuck out.
Be more gay.
Yeah. Have a good time. I mean, be more gay. Kiss the women. For Christ's sake, get out of the corner and have some fun.
Do you have any memories of the Glasshouse or clubbing from your own queer scene that you want to share? Well, if you do, please get in touch. I want to create the biggest online record of people's memories and stories. Go to lostspacespodcast.com and find the section Share a Lost Space and tell me all about what you got up to. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as Lost Spaces Pod. Find out more about Bobby at her website, bobbymacumber.com, and follow her on Twitter at bobbymacumber and Instagram at bobby_macumber. Lost Spaces is not only a podcast, but a concept record as well. I have been writing songs about queer venues and the people who used to live their lives there, and will be releasing songs over the next year. You can hear the first single, Well Grown Boys, which is also playing underneath my talking right now, on all good streaming platforms. If you liked this episode, I would really appreciate if you subscribed, left a review on your podcast platform, or just told people who you think might be interested in giving it a little listen too. I am Kay Anderson, and you have been listening to Lost Spaces.